Welcome to Stretford Paddock. My name is Joe, and this is the news on Monday, the 1st of August. We've got some huge news coming out of Spain that Manchester United are set to make a final offer for Frenkie De Jong, covering those wages, apparently, that Barcelona have refused to pay him. That is coming from Sport. We'll cover all of that in just a minute. We're also looking at Sesko as well, because there's been updates from Fabrizio Romano on Manchester United's interest in him. We'll also have the latest on Alex Tellez, who looks like he may well be leaving. And, of course, Benny McCarthy. This is the one we all saw coming. We all knew that former Blackburn striker Benny McCarthy would be Manchester United's new striking coach. You know, it goes without saying that has happened now. But I'm going to give you the details on that anyway, in case you didn't see that coming. In case you didn't see one of the Premier League sort of random strikers of the early 2000s becoming Manchester United's new striker coach, I will give the full details on that. Let's start with Benjamin Cesco. But before that, make sure you get in the comments and hit subscribe as well. If you're watching this, hit subscribe. We go live every time there's breaking news, and every single morning there is news as well. So hit subscribe and hit the notification bell to see all of that first. Get your comments in below as well. But this is from Fabrizio Romano. Manchester United still exploring Benjamin Cesco deal. No official bid yet, but approaches with the player side continue, as revealed earlier in the week. The RB Salzburg plan has always been to sell Sesko in 2023. Not an easy one, but he's definitely on Manchester United's list. Now, this is the 19-year-old playing for RB Salzburg, dubbed the new Haaland, which I love when you consider that Haaland is what? 22 years old? There's already a new one. He hasn't even reached physical maturity yet, let alone, you know, the ability to spawn replicas, and yet all of a sudden Benjamin Cesco is considered the new Haaland. I think that's because he's 6'5". He's similar height to Haaland. He has that similar sort of quite looming gait as he runs. He's good on the ball, great shot on him, very good in the air, very impressive young player for a 19-year-old. Also, Fabrizio Romano speaking on his YouTube channel, another update in the last few hours as well. At the moment, there is no official bid on Sesko because Man United are trying to understand what will happen with Cristiano Ronaldo. Next week will be important for what happens with Sesko, with many clubs interested. So United supposedly, or apparently, waiting on the latest with Cristiano Ronaldo before we make that official push for Benjamin Cesco, someone who's clearly on Manchester United's radar. Get your thoughts in the comments on him. I've seen footage, I've read scouting reports, I've done research on him in the last week or so since United have been linked with him. He looks to be a very promising young player. I think it was 12 goals in 32 appearances last season, 6 assists, I believe, as well. So he's someone that is not necessarily hugely prolific last season, but for a 19-year-old to be getting a goal every 3 games is very impressive. You know, it's very, very rare that anyone comes through at that age and starts bagging a goal a game. So he's someone that is clearly very talented, clearly good in front of goal. Again, in terms of what kind of player he is, he's a quick player who's surprisingly good with the ball. I think you'll have seen, a lot of people have seen the spin and the turn he did on James Milner on the halfway line against Liverpool. He scored after that move as well. His footwork is good. He likes that sort of foot-to-foot kind of manoeuvre where he'll knock it from one foot to the other and kind of glide around players. But he's very, very good in the air. He's not just someone who's tall, but you know, doesn't have that aerial dominance. He's got a great leap on him. He's brilliant in the air. He looks to be brilliant in the air anyway from the reports I've read and the footage I've seen of him. So he's a very impressive player, especially for someone his age. Get your thoughts in below. Man United is lacking in debt, so they should buy Sesko. I'm not quite sure how that resolves itself. I don't think if you're buying a player, then you lose debt, but you know, we'll see. Final decision. Yeah, well, we'll find out about that final decision in just a minute with Frenkie De Jong. In fact, let's move on to that now. As like I said, the latest on Benjamin Cesco is that there is no official bid yet, but approaches with the player side continue, as revealed earlier in the week. Reports that John Murtaugh met with his agent. I don't know if they were confirmed by any sort of top-tier sources, but that's what was being said, that last week John Murtaugh met with Benjamin Cesco's agent. This is a big bit of news. This is the Frenkie De Jong news that we've been waiting for a while, I think. Coming from Sport in Spain, which is a sort of Barcelona publication, out of Spain, and then sort of relayed and reported as well by the Daily Mail. Manchester United are preparing a final offer to sign Frenkie De Jong from Barcelona, with the Premier League giants to match his £450,000 a week salary and wipe out that crucial £17 million he's owed in wages as Erik ten Hag tries to land his main target. That's the headline from the Daily Mail. I'm going to read the article from Sport. This was reported again in the last few hours. This is sort of Google translated, so we'll get the information out of this and kind of put that in a way that's more presentable. Again, Sport in Spain have reported that the English club agrees to respect the record that the player has in Barcelona. Again, agrees to, I think, give him those same wages, and a summit is being prepared upon his return from the tour of the United States. Barcelona, I believe it was yesterday or the day before, played against... who was it now? New York Red Bulls yesterday, winning 2-0. That was their final game of their Tour of America. Their next game is in a few days at the Nou Camp. So they are coming back from America now, obviously where Frenkie De Jong has been for the last few days, which is reportedly why this deal has sort of been held up somewhat. Let's just get this translated back into English. The English club is preparing a final offer for what they consider to be irrefutable, and that they are aware that Barcelona also sees the transfer very favourably. Barca want this deal done. There will be a summit in Barcelona to convince him. The club has made things clear to both him and those around him that despite everything, Barca are waiting for the latest move from Manchester United to make it clear that the player must leave. Here's some of the crucial bits. United have tried everything to convince him, and now they're going to assure him that his salary will be replicated. Again, I'm kind of piecing this together from the Google translated version of this article. The English club is willing to match the salary that he has at Barcelona for this season and future seasons, and accepting to pay the arrears that he has pending with Barcelona. That's the crucial thing. United reportedly now accepting that we will have to pay this 13 million quid, 17 million euro fee that Barcelona owe Frenkie De Jong. He would thus become the highest paid player in Manchester United, something that would make him see this transfer more favourably. The executives of Manchester United are willing to travel to Barcelona to have one last meeting and settle the matter. That is the current latest with Frenkie De Jong, coming from Sport. Again, that has been filtered into the English press via the Daily Mail, but the original story on that is from Sport in Barcelona, who obviously have very good connections with Barcelona as a club, saying that Manchester United are now willing to pay that £13 million deficit that Barcelona have owed Frenkie De Jong. Hopefully, in the next day or two, we see some of the British press with more reliability than the Daily Mail getting this story for themselves and repeating that out, because obviously you can read it from Sport, you can read it from the Daily Mail. It's not done until you see Romano, Whitwell, Ornstein, Paul Hurst, James Ducker, these sorts of people, the Telegraph, the Times, reporting this. Then you can start to say that this is for sure. But this is definitely massive breaking news coming out of Spain in the last 24 hours, that Manchester United are going back with a final offer for Frenkie De Jong in the region of £450,000, looking at finally breaking that €17 million deficit that Barcelona owed Frenkie De Jong, which to me is slightly frustrating. Slightly frustrating that we're the ones that are having to front this. I mean, I suppose there's a level of desperation from United. We have lost 4 midfielders this summer, and we've replaced them with Christian Eriksen so far, who, whether he's a good player or not, and he is a very good player, he isn't enough numbers-wise to replicate Lingard, Mata, Pogba, Matic. We need more numbers in that midfield, regardless of how good Christian Eriksen is. And that's not to mention the fact that Frenkie De Jong is Ten Hag's number one target. United need to get this done. John Murtaugh's reputation, Richard Arnold's reputation is on the line here. We've all given them a clean slate, but that doesn't extend past failing to get the number one target and wasting all summer doing so. United have got 6 days till we play Brighton on Sunday. If this deal isn't in place, certainly in principle by then, there's going to be some very difficult conversations going on, I think, between Manchester United fans and the board. I mean, this deal won't fix anything that the Glazers have done, but what we wanted to see, what we hope for, is Woodward out, Judge out. Finally, we can get some people in there who are competent, who can get the right signings for their manager. if that isn't the case, I think there'll be some real problems. But it looks as though a breakthrough has been made, or is certainly about to be finalised there with Frenkie De Jong. Any updates, of course, we will be live immediately. And make sure you hit subscribe and hit the notification bell in order to see those first. Let's move on then, and I'll come back to some of your comments in a minute. So get your comments in around Frenkie De Jong, because that's the big story today. Alex Tellez, according to Fabrizio Romano, could leave Manchester United in the next weeks. Porto are not interested despite rumours, while Sevilla are among the 2 or 3 clubs keeping tabs on Tellez. The deal depends on United's to cover part of the salary. Deal to be discussed more soon, apparently. So it looks as though that's obviously going to be a loan, isn't it? Because if United are discussing covering salary, you don't sell a player and still pay his wages. So presumably that will be a loan for Alex Tellez. Something I think we're seeing more at the top level of football in that sort of post-COVID miasma that we find ourselves in, where no one's really got any money yet, but they will have money in the next couple of years because, you know, the fans are coming back in, or we've had a year of fans, but it's not on the books. Like, it's all a bit weird in terms of who's got money and who hasn't. Because the idea of loaning Alex Tellez out seems very odd to me. Is a player that we bought for what, 14 million euros, 17 million euros, something like that. He's not a player that we're going to look to get 30, 40 million quid for. I'm surprised that a player would need to be loaned out. Again, maybe I'm misreading this, but deal depends on Manchester United to cover part of the salary. You don't sell someone and pay their salary. So that presumably is a loan deal there. Again, Porto not interested, but Sevilla are one of the clubs interested. Any update on that, we will bring it to you, of course. And finally, Erik ten Hag explains the arrival of Benny McCarthy. Erik ten Hag has revealed why Benny McCarthy has been recruited for Manchester United's coaching staff. The South African was present on Old Trafford on Sunday as the Reds drew 1-1 with Rayo Vallecano in our pre-season friendly. His appointment as a first-team coach was confirmed over the weekend, and the former striker has both the pedigree and the knowledge to assist in sharpening up the team's attack. I love that. Don't prove it to us. Tell us. Do you know what I mean? Don't help us out. Make sure you let us know he's got the pedigree and the talent. I love that. Ten Hag was on the lookout for one more recruit in his backroom staff in preparation for next week's Premier League opener against Brighton. And here's what he had to say. He said, there was still one place to fill in our coaching staff. Someone with a different voice, and Benny is that one. He has experience as a manager. He was a coach in the professional level, and he was a former striker, a really successful striker as well. The manager also elaborated on McCarthy's specific role at Carrington. He said he will focus on the positioning and attacking. I'm not saying only the strikers, but also the integration from the fullbacks and the midfielders. Our way of playing has to be dynamic. So Benny McCarthy there, as we sort of heard over the weekend, brought in to focus on how Manchester United position themselves and attack. And I love this picture of him, by the way. Look at that. There are so few pictures of Benny McCarthy in his post-football career to choose from. Callum's done a great job with that one. Let's get into some of the comments then. Interesting stuff here. Matt says, I heard they offered him a Greggs if he joins. I think that's true. Frenkie De Jong can have as many Greggs as he wants, but he can only have the chicken tikka because that's one of the lowest fat sandwiches that they offer, actually. United have alternatives, they said. United will move on at the hint of being played, they said. Yeah, and here we are still going after Frenkie De Jong like he's the only player in the world. Other journalists reporting that there are no alternatives to De Jong as Ten Hag doesn't deem them to be good enough. You know what I mean? It's apples and oranges, isn't it? One person saying that there's alternatives, don't worry about it. Another journalist saying there are no alternatives, we're going all out for De Jong. I think from a PR perspective, it makes the most sense for United to say there are no alternatives. Because if you're really putting the pressure on not just Barcelona, but on De Jong, you want him to know, or him to think anyway, it's you or nothing. We love you so much. Even if you say no, we'll just meander around with this sort of limp midfield that we've currently got, and that's better than having anyone else. We love you so much, Frenkie. It's you or nothing. But really, you've surely got a Ruben Neves, on speed dial somewhere. If this Frenkie De Jong deal doesn't get done, I guess we'll find out as the transfer window goes along. We will be back this afternoon with Stephen Howson and Adam McCullough's pre-season tour review. Everything we've seen from Ten Hag so far, all of the results, exactly what they make of all of that. And then we're back this afternoon for the Paddock podcast at 4 o'clock as well. So make sure you stick around and tune in for all of those. Thank you very much for joining me this morning. We'll see you in a bit.